Hello and welcome to the show. Today we're going to answer a question I had on one of my short videos. So stay tuned and here we go. Okay, so I did a little video about dogma, basically on how when we substitute dogma with truth, we have a problem. And I had a question from Andrew Kinney, one of my subscribers, who said, how do we interact with such people who preach dogma and not truth, especially when they're close friends or parental? Ha, I know this one so well. Okay, many you know or you don't know. I was brought up in Birmingham, Alabama, in a Methodist church. Was more of a liberal slant on Christianity, but yet very strict. Not overly strict as like some of my friends were, but yet you were brought up that to believe the normal dogma of Jesus and the church and of this kind of nature. And as I grew up, I started making my rounds within, Baptist, and then I went to Assembly of God and Church of God and UPC, and then I went to more of a charismatic flavored church. And then after I found out that my father's side of the family was Jewish, I started researching into the Hebrew roots and to the Messianic Judaism side of things. Now, that was interesting right there because when I went that way with my family, uh parents and close family members and friends started like distancing themselves. Now my family never distanced, although they did comment a little cautiousness about stuff like this, but in reality I really felt that slant. And matter of fact, even my spiritual decisions probably helped crush my first marriage that I was in. I was married for 20 years, and things happen. You know, Nothing on my end per se. I mean, I'm sure things could have been better, but basically, one of us grew out of the relationship and wanted to move on, and that's what happened. They did. So, but anyway, that I have to say that that probably did help. It was such a big change in our lifestyle from going to church, and then when their father died, and then we wound up I was into full blown Messianic Judaism, even learning to train to lead a congregation and stuff of this nature. And there's the cat in the corner. You see her right there. Uh, so I think it really did help do a lot because some people are not able to handle that change. They're not able to handle such a dramatic change spirituality from going to a church, eating what you want, and then all of a sudden you are into a situation of where you're limited in what you can eat. And when you worship, you change your days and what you can do, and your holidays change. It's a big, big shift, and a lot of people can't survive it. I'm not making fun of that. And then when I entered in after the divorce and I met my wife now, I moved up here to Atlanta. I went through the same kind of culture shock with rabbinical Judaism to a point that it almost drove me a little bit insane. And the fact that it was a lifestyle that I in no way was used to, wasn't brought up in that way, and it didn't work. And I fully rebelled to the point of it. But what it did to me was it drew me into I'm going to search truth on my own. I'm breaking out of all these barriers and I'm breaking out of truth. I'm breaking into truth, not into dogma no more. And it's been a 13-year experience that. But the question was how can we share as we're learning different things and as we're growing? The first comment I can give you is this: where you're at today is not the finale of where you're going to wind up. Even if we die, I believe we're going to come back and we're going to continue on. We won't remember things, but we are not stopping in our search for truth. In other words, somebody may find this church. Oh, this church is it. It fulfills all of my needs. I have found my way home. Or I have found the synagogue and it's so great. The rabbi is so wonderful and I'm not going nowhere else. That's not what I'm talking about. There are places along the way that I feel like we need to be to learn, to be in safety, to grow, even in your relationship with others as you're searching for truth. Let's say, for instance, you are brought up into a strong Christian household. Jesus is the only way. The Bible is the only way of truth, but yet you start seeing different things. Now, You got two choices. You first come in there with a nuclear bomb and you drop it and you just say, I don't believe this. And sometimes it's going to cost you your relationship at the time with your family, and you're going to be alienated. Or you can choose to take the smart route, and you can start doing your studies, but yet blending your studies with some of the fringe groups within Christianity. Starts looking up spiritual Christianity. Start looking up Gnostic Christianity. Start looking at things, and instead of blowing up your relationships, start introducing things like, Mom, Dad, did you know blah, 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 the Cathars, blah, 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 the Valentinians, blah, 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 blah. And no, you don't go blow their mind. You introduce small truths at a time that are safety valves that you can express. And they may say, oh, we don't know about that. But you start bringing documentation showing, I'm not want to argue with you or nothing like that. I just want to share with you this truth that I learned. And here's where it comes from. And then once you supply the paperwork, you have the proof that you need at that time, you move on. And they're going, you don't attack dogma. You don't attack everything. Because what we got to learn, and we learn from the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, is that we're all one. And I know it seems hard to realize that we are all one consciousness when there's so much separation and there's so much distance around us. But we have to come to a point to where we can take nuggets of truth and bring it to other people. For instance, the calendar situation within Judaism. A lot of people say, well, the lunar solar is the way it's been for 2,000 years. It's the way it is. But logically, when you're looking at a calendar, and you start taking the sun, the moon, the way it is obviously a 364-day calendar, and you can bring stuff like jubilees and stuff. Now, I'm not into the calendar debate, so don't kill me and don't destroy me. There's a lot of people that do a lunar calendar. I don't care. So I'm not fighting dogma. I'm just saying from a logical explanation of this, when you go from equinox to equinox, there's 364 days. Sorry, I know the calendar today is 365, but there is 364 days from the equinox to that. We know that. So, logically. So you can start introducing little truths. You don't have to blow everybody up with what you're learning. You start introducing things. I have good friends now that are born-again Christians, and they call me and they get on, and I used to want to blow it up. I used to want to say, and sometimes I do lose control. But sometimes I try to take where they're at and introduce some of what I understand into their conversation, not to trick them, but to make them think outside. And I think that's the way we have to be. We don't have to be that one to come in and blow people up. We can come in and love them, see where they're at. And sometimes you're not going to be able to talk to certain people. Sometimes you're just going to have to let your journey be yours and their journey be theirs, and maybe do some things they do. But if it comes against you spiritually, you have to be very nice about it. Say, I don't want to blow this situation up, but I do really want to share with you what I'm learning. So parents are probably, and loved ones are probably the hardest ones, especially when you're brought up in traditional understandings. I know within Judaism, sometimes if a person finds Jesus or they find the church, the parents will actually put up tombstones because to them their son is dead or their daughter is dead. And to me, that's so stupid. It's just really stupid. And even in Islam, in some extreme cultures, they will actually, kill you. And don't laugh or because Christianity used to be the same way. And in some aspects, they still are. They may not physically kill you, but they will spiritually kill you or try to disparage you. So truth is a situation that you have to be very smart with. You got to be very mature with it. First of all, if you're not mature, smart, you're probably not really learning truth, because truth sometimes has to be brought in and kept silent. You have to meditate. You have to think. You have to believe. You have to really press it within you. But like I said, we'll never reach that full understanding, I don't believe. One day we will. I don't know when that'll be. But we're continually growing. We're continually learning. We're continually moving through this realm that we're in now, and we're learning different things. As I did another short video that I'm going to do a show on maybe later on today about terminology. Terminology is everything. But you'll find out how many people are deceived because they don't understand the terms of what they're talking about. So that's what I'm trying to say in answering the question. And by the way, I love your questions and your comments. Please comment. Please subscribe. Please share, because I need to hear from you. I want to hear what draws you more. I want to hear what brings you closer to more truth, to more understanding. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to be a teacher of dogma. I'm not here to be a teacher of saying I have found the truth, because God knows I'm like you too. As I always say, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. So we're all climbing, we're all moving through this realm, finding truth. This is the matrix. I don't care what anyone says. We are in the matrix. And these archons are trying to push us in many different directions, but we've got to be wise. We got to be smart. So in everything you do, in your approach with your relationship with your family and your friends, you don't want to destroy relationships over your journey. You want to be quiet, be very careful of how much you share. And when you share it with love, and try to blend it into their dogma, to let them think on their own, to let them think, man, he just said Jesus, according to this receipt that he brought to the argument, may not be God. And you may lead them on a search themselves. That's what happened to me. I had a UPC pastor one time challenge me on the Trinity and stuff of that nature. And he didn't blow it up. He took me to I actually went to his house. No, we went to the church. We went to a church. We opened the Bibles and we started reading. And he didn't say, this is my interpretation. He let the scriptures speak on their own. And it made me start questioning. And that's where I'm at today. I'm very cynical. I'm not one that just jumps and falls over different things. I'm going to meditate over it for a while. I'm going to think before I jump. But you can be friendly to all people, and you can be that light to all people. Some people you're never going to be able to share with. Maybe your mother and your father, maybe your wife. Some people just will never be open to it, but never stop trying. But don't blow the relationship up either. So be yourself. Be wise to introduce your understanding through their dogma without blowing them up. And it's a sick analogy, but I'm going to give it to you. You've seen these movies where the wife will try to poison the husband. They don't just pour a whole thing of rat poison into that coffee cup. They put teaspoons or a little bit of it daily to build up in the system to kill the person. I know it's a bad analogy, but it's true. The same thing is true with truth. You can't put too much at one time. You got to put a little bit of particles in the conversation, little bit of truth, little bit of what you're finding, little bit of videos, books, articles that you're reading. And you do that over time, you will lead people further along the way than where they're at. So I hope that helps. Like I said, any questions you have, if we can't find them, we'll find the answers, because that's what we're on. We're on this journey together to find the truth. And again, thank you. Welcome to the channel. Please subscribe, comment, and share. Thank you so much.